And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Well, that is a piece of memorabilia that Brian Howard, Executive Director of the Oneida County History Center, brought with him. And Brian, it's a medal, obviously, but there's a story behind it.
Yes, this is what was called at the time the Great War Victory Medal. Of course, no one called it the World War I Victory Medal until World War II occurred. But this is the American version of the medal that was given to soldiers, sailors, and airmen who had completed hitches of duty during the First World War between 1917 and 1918, and I think into 1919, although the war had actually ended by then. And every soldier who had served with good conduct would have received one of these as a token of appreciation.
That leads right into a question I was going to ask you, Brian, and that is there's a change of displays at the Oneida County History Center.
Yep, the current exhibit is now being built. It's one that honors the contributions of Oneida County's residents during the First World War. Of course, 2018 is the centennial year for the end of the war. Veterans Day this year, November 11th, is going to be the actual 100th anniversary of the war's end. And like a lot of local historical societies and history centers around the country, we felt compelled to take this time to honor and recognize the individuals who sacrificed both overseas and on the home front for the cause of liberty.
When will that exhibit go up, Brian?
Our planned opening date is August 9th, and I don't remember if that's a Thursday or a Friday, but if you chalk up August 9th in your calendar, you can come in and see that exhibit. A lot of material that has not seen the light of day, literally in years, is going to be put on display.
Such as?
Well, we have, if you're familiar with the typical steel doughboy helmets that would have been used by American soldiers during the war. We have several of those. We also have a number of uniforms, war bond and recruiting posters, which were ubiquitous throughout the country. They were produced by the federal government to not only promote but also to finance the war. And smaller scale artifacts as well. One of the soldiers who lost his life on the fields in France was Charles Adrian. The Adrian American Legion Post is named in his honor. We have the telegram that his wife received confirming that he had indeed been killed in action in October of 1918, just about 5 weeks before the end of the war. So materials like that that will hopefully promote an understanding and an appreciation for what this nation was going through during the First World War will all be on display.
And you brought some other things that fit into that World War I display, Brian?
We did. I spoke about the bond and recruiting poster collection. We have a pretty extensive one, and I have a couple examples here. This small poster encourages people to purchase bonds and war savings stamps, again, to finance the war. During the First World War, about 2/3 of the cost of the conflict was financed through these war bond efforts. The other third by raising taxes, of course. But these posters would have been seen everywhere, in stores, in people's windows, on telephone poles, all promoting an investment of the American people in the war. They were known as the Liberty loan drives, and here's something that somebody who had purchased a Liberty loan or purchased a war bond could put in their window to promote the fact that they were indeed supporting the war. This was a huge PR campaign. The American public, understandably given its multicultural nature, was split in its either support or opposition to the war. There was significant anti-German sentiment, and remember that there were a large number of German immigrants and descendants of German immigrants right here in Utica.
Big German population.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So the war was not something that enjoyed universal support on the home front, and that's another story that we're hoping to tell. And just another piece that I brought here as well is just a collateral note for the second Liberty bond drive. Altogether, I believe there were 5 Liberty Bond drives during the war, which raised in the neighborhood of $16 billion for the effort. The overall cost of the war was about $24 billion to the United States. This one was from November of 1917, so we were still pretty early on in our contribution as an active combatant during the war.
Okay, and you brought some non-World War I memorabilia with you too, Brian.
I did. We'll stay with the early part of the 20th century here real quick. I just wanted to bring this street shot from downtown Genesee Street. And
that's a great shot.
Oh, I love this picture.
Yeah.
It's clear. It's from 1910. And the thing that I love about this, I mean, you can see the Devereaux building right in the center of the picture, which
Let me point that
yep.
out. There's the Devereaux building
no
right
longer,
here.
Yep, in existence there, and the tall building in the background still exists today. That was initially a bank. I believe
that's correct.
Was the first
I think
national?
it was Utica Citizens Bank or something like
that.
That
sounds right.
It was a bank, yes.
Yeah. I love this picture because you have the cobblestone streets and you have 4 different types of transportation visible in there. You've got an early automobile, a horse and buggy.
There's the automobile, the horse and buggy.
Yep. There's a bicycle leaning up against one of the telephone poles, and of course the trolleys, which existed in downtown Utica until 1941.
You know what else you got there, Brian? And you don't see it well, but there's the old hump bridge right there that went over the Erie Canal.
Yep, which is now modern-day Oriskany Street.
Yep.
So, pictures like this, these are all available if somebody wants to get a copy of this to hang in their home or in their office. Our entire photo archive has been digitized and is available if you wanted to come down and take a look through it and order some pictures for your, like I say, for your home or your office. That's something that we can do for the community that helps spread local history to people and homes around the area.
We didn't say it, but I guess it goes without saying, but this was the busy corner.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Of Utica. And back in those days, it truly was a busy corner.
Very
Brian
true.
brought a couple of other nice pieces of memorabilia with him, and we'll talk about those right after this short break.